Hey everybody, this is Russ King. I got a quick video here to show you how to import and scale your floor plans. So the first thing you do when you start the program, it'll be in floor plan mode. Be sure to enter all your project information. But the first thing you do is set your elevations. If you're doing a two-story house, you want this to show 2 stories down here. So you'll hit add a floor, and you'll see that it creates a little 2-story elevation of a house here, and you can see there's 2 sets of floor plans in the drawing screen over here. Okay, and you can set your heights of the first floor, and right now it's set at 0.5, and that's basically a slab on grade. If it was say a 2-story, or sorry, 2 foot tall crawl space, you would just set that to 2, and it would set your floor height to 2 down here. I'll show you in a second how that works. But let's leave it as a slab. Those are very common out here in California. 8-foot ceilings, we could set that at 9 or 10 or whatever. That's your plate height. And then your floor joist heights. Here it's 12 inches. That's also very common. And then an 8-foot second floor is what I have it set at. So I'll just leave it at that, but you can set it whatever you want. Now, if part of the floor is higher than the rest, you can change that later. What this does is when you plop down a floor on the floor plans, it makes it, that's sort of the default height, and then you can change the height of each individual room as well. You can do vaults and all that stuff as well. Okay, so I'll do a 2-story building. You can do the second floor now, or you can do it later. I actually prefer to later. I get it out of the way, but you can also just turn it off over here by just deselecting those and just work on the first floor. But I prefer to I'll do my first floor first and then add my second floor when I'm ready. All right, so then the next step is to import floor plan. And see, I have first floor. We'll do this house here. Okay, looking at it straight down from the top, you'll see that it's 40 feet across here and 42 feet 6 inches front to back. Okay, so the next thing to do is to scale it. By the way, there's a couple other features on here. I might as well show those now. If you need to move the floor plan around, what it does is it unlinks it from the grid in the background. And if you zoom in on a corner, this looks like some kind of a brick veneer or something, but the wall is right there. And it's lined up pretty good, but I could move it if I needed to. But that looks pretty good lined up like so. Also, there's this stretch feature in here. Stretch and slide. If for some reason you had a bunch of notes and stuff around the side of your drawing, you can slide it left and right like so. You can slide it front to back like so, and then you can also stretch it. So this allows you to position your drawing on the floor plan that's on the drawing area. But typically what I do is I found works the best is I'll take a PDF file that's a a whole plan set, and it's got all the notes on the side and the border and the architectural drawings and details and all that stuff, and I'll just zoom in on it on the screen and then just take a snip of just the part that I need, and then that snip is typically saved as a PNG file, which is an image file, and it loads very quickly and neatly, and it's a smaller file too, so I guess it takes up less memory and all that good stuff. So anyways, let's scale it. So after you import it, you'll scale it, and you'll see 2 arrows will show up. There's a red arrow going left to right, and there's a blue arrow going top to bottom, and then there's this little yellow arrow down here, and I'll show you what that is. That's a tape measure. Okay, so we see 40 feet here. So usually the best thing to do is just line up right with the your dimension markers there, and then just say 40 feet. Hit scale, and then that brings it to 40 feet. Front to back, 42.5 feet. So we'll do the same thing here and there. So if you're doing energy modeling, you need to be a lot more precise than if you're just doing load calculations. Set the dimension there, scale. All right, now it's to scale. So these little squares on here are 1 foot squares. So if that's 40 feet across, it should line up with 40 of those all the way across, and everything should line up. Okay. Um, Now I'll show you in a second that the second floor plan I have does not have dimensions, and it's not exactly the same footprint, but this dimension from here to here lines up on the first and second floor. And so if I just need to know what that dimension is, that's where this little tape measure comes in handy. So I would just go up to there and bring it down, make sure it's straight, or it'll be off a little bit. And then over here it says 35.5 feet. So I'll remember 35.5 feet for this dimension when it comes time to scale the second floor, and the width is the same on the second floor. So it lines up this way, it just doesn't line up this way because of the garage and things like that. So, all right, so that's all scaled and ready to go. So the next thing to do would be to plop the rooms down on there. So I'll go ahead and do that and skip past that, and that'll be putting rooms will be in another tutorial video. So hang on while I do this real quick. Okay, so let's go ahead and put the second floor on there. So go back to floor plan, elevations, and add a floor. And you'll see that it puts the second floor grid on there. The grid only shows up when you're in floor plan mode. It goes away in all the other modes. So we'll import the floor plan. That's the second floor. This guy right here. Oh, I have it turned off. That's the problem. There we go. Don't forget to turn it back on if you turn it off. Okay, so if you recall, it was 40 feet wide, just like the first floor, but the dimension from here to here was 35.5. So let's do that one first. So we scale drawing the same way. Let's go here. Let's look straight down from the top. I found that that's a little easier. You can get right on it. And then if it looks like it's over just a little bit, just compensate on the other side, on the other end when you do it. If that's a little long, leave the side just a tad short. And I'm going right to the edge of the black line, not that brick veneer or whatever that is, the little crosshatch. So 35.5 scale. All right, and then crossways. We'll go there, there, 40, enter. Okay. All right, so it's not exactly lined up because you can see my rooms over here don't line up. So I'm going to use the first floor, the corner of the room that I know lines up with the corner of the floor plan there. And I'm just going to bring this other floor plan over to line up with it. So that'd be the move floor plan thing there. And you come in and you can actually see the line below. See it there? So right there, it looks pretty darn good. And then you can go over and check the other side. If the other side's off a little bit, and that's very possible, that you can adjust it. So let's look down here and go, yep, sure enough, it's off by a little bit. So we did that as 40 feet, so let's redo this top one. For some reason it's off just a tad. So we'll do scale drawing, come back here, there, maybe a little longer, a little bit longer. There we go. And move. You see our floor corner is right there. So put that there. And then come on this side. And it's right on. Yep. Now let's go back to front. And we can go to rooms. And that should be pretty good. Now you just put your rooms on the second floor and they're all lined up with the first floor. And everything looks groovy. Let me show you real quick. I'll put a room on here and show you what the height of the floor joist thing that I was talking about. So you see right there is this height right here. So if I would change that to 2, see how it goes up there? So that's your floor joist space. That's where you would run a lot of your ducts. So that's why it's good to know what that actually is. 12-inch floor joists are pretty common. So 1 foot is a reasonable number to use. All right, that's it. I hope you learned a lot. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us. Thanks very much. Have a great day.